In an exclusive conversation with Times Network's managing editor and chief business officer Times Influence, Mihir Bhatt, Andhra Pradesh's Minister for Information Technology, Electronics and Communications and Human Resource Development, Nara Lokesh, explains how the state is tracking global trends, building sector-specific ecosystems and converting high-level engagement into real on-ground outcomes.
Welcome to our special coverage from Davos 2026. I have a very special guest with me. I have the IT Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Nara Lokesh, with me. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on Times Network. It's a pleasure having you on our network. We have been covering Davos extensively. What stands out in case of Andhra Pradesh is, Andhra Pradesh never indulges into announcing huge numbers or the number of MOUs or the value for the MOUs and all. But there are some very intense core B2B meetings. So this year, what's your experience at Davos?
No, we've, I alone have had close to 40 one-on-one meetings. And in addition, of course, the Honorable Chief Minister is here, the Industries Minister is here. So together we're working very hard to sort of have conversations, number one. Number two, also understand the future sectors, if I may, the sunrise sectors. And how do we go about building ecosystems around that sector? So we are here in Davos to also learn. So we are part of various forums, we interact, we engage, and that's what Andhra gains at the end of it.
Mm-hmm. But don't you feel, because there are this year, in fact, the Indian contingent is one of the largest, with 10 states also participating apart from India Pavilion. And there was so much buzz when you enter the India Pavilion and even the state pavilions. Andhra quietly operates in one corner and does all those meetings. So, why is that approach?
Well, Andhra is in midst of all the hustle and bustle. I think we have the perfect real estate, if I can say that. No, but see, honestly, Mr. Naidu is the original Davos man, and he understands the value of Davos. And the brand that he carries requires a certain amount of space also to work, because a lot of people want to meet with him, meet the delegation, want to interact, start having conversations here. So therefore, we need this kind of space to actually do what we have to do.
Right.
And then it's also a great opportunity, of course, to also present our story, the Andhra story. If you look at it, in the last 18 months, we made substantive progress. Close to 25% of investments have now come to Andhra. So Andhra is now here, and Andhra is back to doing business. So we need to position ourselves, position our stories, and of course, celebrate our success while we work on our failures.
This year, what are your key takeaways? You attended quite a few sessions also inside the Congress at WEF. What are your key takeaways?
So I think more and more geopolitics has become uncertain, and during uncertain times, I think India has a great opportunity to rise, and this is India's time. One thing that everyone's been telling clearly, that India has a very strong leadership at the federal level, that's at central government level, and at the state level. People are very appreciative of our democracy, how robust and strong it is, and how the government is taking decisions, keeping the next 25-30 years in mind, and not just tomorrow or day after in mind. And this crisis is helping us. This geopolitical crisis is helping us emerge, take tough decisions, look at every regulation. And the world is really appreciative at the speed at which we're able to get things now done.
Mm-hmm. But, you're right that it's actually a great opportunity for India. I did, at least in my interactions, I did sense a bit of a apprehension in terms of which way the trade war will swing, what will happen in terms of trade deal with US, what happens to H1B. You met so many leaders, you did more than 50 odd meetings. Did any of these issues surface in those meetings? Are people concerned, especially the global investors?
Surprisingly not. They're like, let's get started. What can we do? How's the state looking at building these ecosystems? And how can we ensure that whatever we do stands the test of time in politics? So that's been the approach. And in fact, if you look at it, aqua is very big in my state, right? Mm-hmm. And shrimp was one of the early commodities to be hit hard by tariffs. But then we re-looked at it. We said, okay, what's the entire value chain? We're competing with Ecuador. What is the differential in tariff? How do we go about ensuring that the companies and the farmers are not affected? So we as a state gave huge subsidy on power. And other players in the value chain have started cutting back on their cost, making themselves more efficient so that we can pass this on. So we've done that entire reorganization, and that particular sector is growing like never before. So again, crisis is an opportunity, and I believe that India does always well. when our backs are up against a wall.
That's true. This year, in fact, at Davos, one of the key, a couple of key areas or sectors, I would say, which are really buzzing. One is obviously artificial intelligence. The second is semiconductors. Third is the quantum. Fourth is the manufacturing supply chain and the diversification of that. So what are your key takeaways in these areas, and what are going to be Andhra's priorities in these sectors?
See, honestly, all the sectors that you have just said are very important and core to our growth. But Andhra has now identified 22 areas to be very focused. So starting from even a glass city, a drone city, a space city, automotive city, we have an aqua city, the entire aquaculture ecosystem that's getting built, compressed biogas ecosystem that's getting out, medical devices manufacturing, pharma, steel. One of India's largest steel plant, the Greenfield steel plant, is going to get built by ArcelorMittal. But what excites me is the tight vertical and horizontal integration. Now, verticals, what do you mean by verticals? All the players of an ecosystem, how do we bring them into it? So it's not just about getting the glass manufacturer, but how do I get the guy who makes the equipment for the glass manufacturer? All in a 100-kilometer radius. Make this ecosystem to thrive. And then I look at the horizontal. Horizontal is where education comes in, skills come in, testing facilities come in, certification facilities come in. That's the approach that we're taking. You'll be surprised to hear 50% of India's air conditioners are manufactured in my state.
Wow.
And with the 3 deals we've done, it'll be 70%. So I now need to work with them to strengthen my ITIs, polytechnics, to get the blue-collar jobs and job ready when our kids graduate out of ITIs and polytechnics. So we are working very close with industry. Now think about this across 22 sectors. So quantum is another sunrise sector that we've been very focused on. And we're getting South Asia's first 153-qubit quantum computer coming to Amravati. But as a state, we're working very systematically. It's not just about bringing a quantum computer. We had a challenge on building the use cases for this quantum computer and using the quantum compute, to deliver results. Then we're working with the industry on, how do we get the entire training done. We have level 1, level 2, level 3 training, starting from basic awareness to more research, startup ecosystem getting built. And then how do you create a policy to tie up all the startups together to create a meaningful outcome? So this is how we're looking at a very tight ecosystem. Only then will these ecosystems thrive and stand the test of time.
Right. So like you rightly mentioned, if the Southeast Asia's first quantum computing system is coming to Andhra, are you somewhere envisioning that Andhra will end up leading the quantum revolution as far as Indian subcontinent is concerned, or maybe Southeast Asia?
Absolutely. No second thoughts about it. Because quantum mission has been around. The Honorable Prime Minister saw that this is the future. He's put out the mission, but then none of the states really used it. Andhra saw an opportunity and seized of it. And then we are going about it very systematically in terms of execution in Andhra Pradesh.
Right. One challenge which I have seen, at least, from a journalist point of view, if I look at it, a lot of times what happens is the states end up announcing a lot of MOUs, end up announcing a lot of meetings and all, but the conversion ratio is not very encouraging. If you look at numbers 1 or 2, 3 years down the line, when we review the numbers, in some cases we have seen that the conversion is actually less than 50%. And that's where I think, the real challenge is. What is your vision to tackle a dilemma like this or a situation like this?
See, in the last 18 months, we have so far signed 764 projects. Some of them have MOUs, some of them don't have MOUs. So we are not very eager to sign MOUs. Our approach has been is we shake hand, then it no longer is the entrepreneur's project, it's become a shared vision. So the shared vision between the entrepreneur and the state. So that's been our approach.
Right.
That's how we're able to land projects. So 764 projects so far in the last 18 months are in different phases. And I am the chair of the group of ministers to create 20 lakh jobs in 5 years. And we personally review it, and every 15 days we review each and every project to make sure that they are moving from one stage to the next stage and nothing is getting stuck due to various other challenges. It could be legal, it could be land, it could be water, it could be power, whatever it is. But all the projects have to move.
Right.
And that's been a very systematic approach that we've taken in Andhra Pradesh. And that's what makes Andhra Pradesh very unique. Speed of doing business. Andhra stands as a testimony to it. So companies that choose speed are choosing Andhra Pradesh.
Right. But when we speak to foreigners, I mean, their view somewhere is slightly that because so many states are competing with each other, especially for foreign or global operators, it becomes a slightly confusing narrative that while India is a great story, the states are competing a little too much among themselves. You obviously stand out because you have not announced any MOUs or you have not really announced any big numbers sitting here in Davos. But that happens. Perceptually, how do you look at it?
See, I think different states use Davos platform in a very different way, and I think each state is unique, and I mean they should do what suits them best. But Andhra Pradesh has always taken a very different approach. See, Mr. Naidu has been coming to Davos since 1995. Right. He's the original Davos man from India, and his focus has been very clear that we are here to learn, and we are here to engage. So there were many conversations that started here, and then they were closed once we went back. So we never felt the need to make announcements sitting here in Davos. That's been our approach. But what makes it even more exciting for us is we are all here to learn. In quantum, I did a session this morning. We spent an hour and a half with academicians from across the world, with startups from across the world. And funnily enough, I was the only politician/policymaker in the room.
Wow.
And the exciting bit is, where I presented what my thoughts were on how to build the entire quantum ecosystem. And then I asked them for their feedback. So because you had the best minds in the room. I said, boss, give me feedback. Tell me, is the direction in which we are thinking right or wrong? So we had a lot of feedback. I have got 32 points of feedback that I believe that we should actually carefully evaluate as we go about implementing a quantum mission. So Andhra uses Davos quite differently, and Mr. Naidu also does a lot of sessions in the Congress. But of course, we showcase the India story and the Andhra story. But parallelly, we are also here to learn, and that's what makes the Andhra, the way Andhra uses Davos different from other states. That
India has actually identified the core challenges in the core areas really well. So you look at Skill India mission or various missions that India and the Honorable Prime Minister has launched. But maybe somewhere it falls off the cliff in execution in some states. So the spread of those missions is not very even, and that creates pockets of challenges within the federal, territory itself. What is your view on that?
Well, see, again, different states have different capacities to execute on Honorable Prime Minister's vision. While Andhra Pradesh is quite clear. So, if our Honorable Prime Minister, gives a clear direction that this is the way we should move, walk, Andhra will run. And that's been our approach. So, if you look at labor reforms, we led it from the front. If you look at decriminalization of various regulations, we're leading it from the front. And we want to be number one. So, I believe that states should compete. And when states compete, India wins. India wins. So, definitely in terms of maturity level of executing certain reforms, different states are at different level. And again, we must keep in mind that politically the circumstances will be very different in that particular state compared to Andhra. And Andhra is again different from Maharashtra. Maharashtra is different from Tamil Nadu. So every state is unique in its own way, right? And they'll have their own challenges and they'll find their own solutions. While the larger framework exists, and I believe that's good.
Right. I'll ask a couple of political questions. Can't let you go without that. But obviously, you are, considered and perceived as one of the most dynamic next-gen leaders as far as Indian polity is concerned. What is your view? Because, there is back home, there is always friction between opposition and the ruling party. Sometimes even good and positive policies from center are not necessarily being rolled out very efficiently or not rolled out at all. We have seen the controversy around new education policy as well. And it's high time, if India really wants to compete, and we are talking of being in the same league as US and China are, the first thing that we need to actually sort of revamp is the education, where we have seen all states going in different directions. How do you see that?
So as an education minister, we have embraced NEP. There are certain points in NEP that I might not necessarily agree with, and there are some points that I will require time to roll it out. Because that requires convincing the larger, teachers or the Anganwadi workers. It requires a lot more effort, and you have to build a political consensus towards it. See, as a political establishment, Telugu Desam Party is a very regional party, and our approach has always been that we are here to learn. So we're not necessarily only in Davos, but even back home, we're willing to learn. So we reach out to all these unions, we take their views, we take their inputs, and we inculcate it. And we are also human. 3 out of 10 decisions will anyway go wrong. And we are willing to correct. While this is happening, it's equally responsible opposition that they balance things out. They should also learn to give feedback. It's very unfortunate that today, there's no discourse in a parliament. It just becomes sloganeering and shouting. I think this time has come to put a full stop to that and actually create a vibrant democracy, and we actually debate on the bills. Any inputs to be done should be given, and then it should be voted.
But like you also pointed out, that there are some issues where you see some challenges in new education policy. Which are those issues?
See, these issues, honestly, being a partner of NDA, these are issues that I will discuss with Dharmendra Pradhanji in a closed door session. Because that is the quality of discussion that we have. And with all fairness, that is the freedom he has given to me personally.
Right.
So I've always had the opportunity to go sit with him in a closed door session and disagree with him. Either I convince him or sir will tell, nahi, aise karna hai. So it's a mutual understanding. So anything is there, we do it in closed door. So nothing to be worried too much about.
And you also mentioned that some of those measures may take slightly longer to implement. So do you have a timeline in mind, or which are those measures which you think may take some time? Because end of the day, I think when government rolled out new education policy, the whole aim was to have a uniform educational structure in India, maintaining the heritage of regional languages.
No, absolutely. In fact, Dharmendra Pradhanji emphasizes the importance of mother tongue. Every time I meet him, he's like, don't miss that. Don't get carried away. That's the clear message that he gives me. He's like, don't forget your mother tongue. So that way, the so-called controversy or how languages are being weaponized is quite hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate that some political parties are doing it. In fact, I'm a beneficiary of 3 languages. I wouldn't say I'm fluent in Hindi, but I'm conversational in Hindi.
Yeah.
And it has helped me, immensely helped me. And my son, who's 11 years old, is learning Hindi.
Right.
I believe it's very important that kids learn 3 languages, and it's not mandated that it has to be Hindi, it could be any language.
Correct.
So these are things that I think we are slowly educating and building greater consensus, even in our state, and we will roll it out.
Right. Though a lot of southern states have been very, vocal about how this is going to wipe out their heritage and
minus Andhra.
Minus Andhra, of course.
Andhra has always made it very clear that we believe that 3 languages is important, and being beneficiaries of it, personally, I believe in the power of it.
Right. Any particular message that you would like to give to the larger audience and global investors from this platform?
One, India is the future. India is going to lead the way. There's amazing discussions happening around by when India will be the 3rd largest economy and by when will be the 2nd largest economy. India is a very diverse country, and states like Andhra Pradesh are leading the change from the front. So companies that choose speed are choosing Andhra Pradesh. We are here to do business. We are here to ensure that your dreams are executed flawlessly on the ground. And openly we are welcoming everyone to Andhra Pradesh. And to be fair, no risk, no reward, and no story. Absolutely. That's our motto, and we will deliver on the speed of doing business.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.